By Matt Hayden for more on this, former Assistant Secretary for Cyber Infrastructure Risk and Resilience Policy at the Department of Homeland Security, VP of Cyber and Emerging Threats at GDIT. Matt, thank you and welcome to the show. I'll put up this headline from The Verge with the EPA cracking down on cybersecurity, where it says foreign governments have disrupted some water systems with cyber attacks and may have embedded the capability to disable them in the future. So I think we've talked about this a few times, but again, on the show, but it's becoming bigger and bigger now. Are we on top of it finally, or how do you see it?
Sadly, no. We're seeing that we have bad actors that are taking up positions across critical infrastructure. That includes the water sector and several other different critical infrastructure partners that are in that have-not category of cyber hygiene and cyber tools. So you're just going to see things like the water sector that have a challenge with just general things like multi-factor authentication, having their tools and their data segmented. I mean, there's things that just weren't really meant to be online that are online with some of these partners, and it is troubling. So
the EPA puts together these new enforcement mechanisms. I'll put them up on the screen here on securing water systems and reducing exposure to public-facing internet. You're talking about how they shouldn't be online to begin with, and on down the list to regular assessments and the like. So you're saying this is just not enough, and they're playing catch-up? Is that the point, or?
It's not so much about catch-up as much as it is that our adversaries have started inventorying where we have low-hanging fruit when it comes to targets across the United States. So you're going to see things like the water sector as one of those low-hanging fruits that really are difficult to protect because there's so many of them. They're not owned by the government in a lot of cases. They're regulated on their pricing, so they can't just charge more and provide more cybersecurity. At the same time, there isn't a silver bullet for protecting them from a federal level. It's not like the U.S. government can lay out some level of security measure to take care of it for them. So there is a larger challenge with this particular area.
I'm assuming you say adversaries, it's Iran, it's China. And we put up this letter from the White House that was sent to governors back in March. Threat actors affiliated with the Iranian government have carried out malicious cyber attacks against the United States critical infrastructure. People's Republic of China's state-sponsored cyber group, known as Volt Typhoon, has compromised information technology of multiple critical infrastructure systems. So those are the top two, or Russia's in there, or who are we worried about?
China is our biggest threat in any critical infrastructure conversation. But what we're seeing is ransomware taking on through third-party services like the ransomware gangs that we see out of Russia that are given safe harbor to really do whatever they like. The Iranians and the North Koreans are in there as well. But for the most part, our biggest concern is the scale and scope in which China is infiltrating our networks, as referenced through the Volt Typhoon articles.
I wonder sometimes when I do these segments, I wonder what regular people should take away from them. I mean, there are serious problems. We've scared them half to death, right, by talking about all the things that are out there and what happened to the water systems. What is anything people can do, or what should people think when they hear about what's going on, whether the government's doing enough, you know?
So there is a good public interest piece here. So one of the challenges that we have with the water sector is hardening it from cyber side. But at the same time, most water sector plants aren't as susceptible to things like cataclysmic issues like poisoning or things like that. They actually just shut down. And so what we're looking from our adversaries' data point is they're trying to create chaos. They want to do something at a water treatment plant and then say it's the end of the world. And so what the public needs to know is that, one, if there is an incident at a water treatment plant, it's being monitored. The states are leveraging resources, the federal government's leveraging resources, and that sometimes that there will be an overreaction to those types of incidents that will be amplified by our adversaries on social media and the like to really make a panic. And that's where we have to really stand tall and say, okay, we saw a Colonial Pipeline. This isn't a moment to grab gasoline by the plastic bag. This is a moment to hear out the people in charge and to see what the risks they've addressed through these attacks.
Okay. Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.